rising cost of tuition is a very big issue in the United States as of now. And most recently, it came up in Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign where he proposed free tuition nationwide. Now, this is very popular overseas in Europe because they are a socialist community, and while in the United States we're a capitalist, and it's a little different viewpoint. So the main issues with this is that there is a 5% gradual increase each year in public school tuition, which doesn't sound that steep, but in the long run it makes a big effect, especially on me, as I'm going to the University of Iowa and my tuition is now over $10,000 a year, which makes it very hard on myself because I can't make that kind of money while also being a full-time student. So because of this, a lot of kids are in support of free tuition, but I actually am not. And that is for three main reasons. One, being the very extreme tax raises it would cause on all of the United States. Two is that more kids may be dropping out of school. And three is that it actually devalues possessing a college degree. So starting with the tax raises, the state of New Jersey is actually considering this currently. And in a recent Forbes article, it stated that the highest tier of income tax would go from 8.75 to 10.9%, which may not seem like a lot, but it is still 2% of that person's income that they can no longer access. So that is a big, big, big amount of money, especially when you're making that much. Now, this is a bigger problem for the upper class, I would say, but it would definitely still affect the lower class because they are not making as much money, and if they're just getting by, they will have to pay the extra taxes, which can honestly make the difference. Now, because of this tax money coming from everybody, if these kids start dropping out, no one's going to be happy. And as of now, the National School Clearinghouse actually states that 47% of community college kids are dropping out. Now, that is a very big number, and being almost 50%, those kids would be a waste of money. And the reason it's a problem is because if they're not putting the money towards their tuition, they won't be as invested as someone who is paying $10,000 like myself every year for tuition. Now, I see college as an investment, but those kids who don't want to be there aren't going to feel the same way. They may just be going because their parents force them to. Now, that's a big issue, obviously, because the wasted tax money is out the window then in the state of New Jersey. Now, lastly, the big problem I see is that it devalues actually possessing a college degree. So for example, someone who goes to a 4-year school, obtains a bachelor's degree in business, is ahead of someone who should be in community college with a business degree, a 2-year business degree. Now, if the free tuition ends up going to 4-year schools, that person with a 2-year degree might as well go on and get their 4-year degree. Now, these two people who were not qualified before the free tuition now are, and there's still the same amount of jobs, but there's more qualified people. So these people who go to the 4-year schools and pay their way through it, and then another person who gets the free tuition are on the same level, and it's not really fair to everybody else. So in reality, there won't be as many jobs, which is really sad. And with that, labor jobs that most people who graduate high school go to do, such as construction or trucking or whatever. I mean, they won't be going into those fields as heavily, and they'll still need jobs, which is a big problem. I mean, if they're not getting through school, they're dropping out, they're wasting years of their life that they could be making money while they were just wasting their time earning free school. So in conclusion, the 4-year and 2-year schools having free tuition will cause a much steeper tax raise than what is currently in place, And in the state of New Jersey, it could make a very drastic difference. Then the amount of dropouts could increase, and that could ultimately lead to a devaluing of college degrees. So thank you. So here is my audience of 4.